And we're back. Week 22, I'd like to say. And my God, do I have some good updates. So just hang on. Obviously week 1 of uni, but that's the title of the video, but there's a lot more to go through today. So just stick around for this one. Stick around for this one. So where do I even begin? Firstly, I'd say about 12 weeks ago, 13 weeks ago, I decided to spend a lot of money on my education. I made a video on that and I spent nearly $2,000. I'd say maybe closer to 1.7, 1.8, and 1.6 grand was just on Content Academy alone because I thought that would fit what I was doing on my Instagram reels. I could make some money off of it and I can learn and I can grow. Now, the main reason that made me pull the trigger so quickly and so instinctively on this is because of the offer. The offer was I would get a refund if I post 30 videos and I applied to 7 UGC opportunities. Now, for me, as someone that's posted before, that seems like an easy cop-out if I don't end up liking it or I just don't put as much time into it as I thought. It was probably more that second one because a lot of other things in life got in the way. We'll get through that in a second. But I posted 60 times on 3 different platforms, so 180 pieces of content. So well over that marker. I applied to 7 UGC opportunities. I only got a real back and forth with a couple brands. And I didn't end up pulling the trigger because the prices of them were very low compared to what I used to get. So I wasn't actually interested in doing these videos for $25 per video. Anyways, I decided to request a refund with some back and forth with Content Academy. I have to give them props for actually pulling through. They have sent through the refund. I haven't received the money yet, but I should within the next day or so. So 1.6 grand coming back into my bank account. I'll reallocate that money to my videographer. I'll get into that in a second. Reallocate that money into the stock market, and I will need to restructure my room a little bit to get ready for streaming. So that's an update on one end. Another end, we have my basketball. Now, we know I started playing competitive basketball recently in that league. We know how that first week went. I got a brand new pair of free basketball shoes. Shout out to the captain of our team, just as a thank you. They're an expensive pair of shoes, but they're so good. Now, I currently lead that league in scoring by 7 points per game, so it's not really close anymore. I don't know how much I'd be able to stay on top of the league, if at all, and I'm currently leading the MVP race on top of that. Well, tied first currently. I've got the maximum amount of votes I possibly could, given our win-loss ratio, but so looking pretty good in both of those departments. I'm performing well every single week. My lowest scoring game was 17 points, so I'm very, very consistent with my scoring. And what can I say? Basketball's my sport. So positive update on that remark. Positive update in the sense that I could get my refund from Content Academy and they weren't just bullshitting us. I would have probably took legal action if they didn't give me my refund. Then next thing I do want to get into though is my uni. I went to uni for the first time this week. 4 lectures, 4 seminars, which are classes in a classroom setting. First thing that really blew me away was the facilities at Deakin. I was glazing them last week for their social life. I'm probably about to glaze them again because, my God, I mean, the buildings are new, but they are incredible. I mean, maybe it's because I came from a public school that's about to fold. It's a very big uni. There's so many people there. I mean, maybe it's because it's the first week. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, your classes, and then they're just not going to turn up next week. But getting into the swing of things with that, I think I'm doing a business degree. I mean, it's the first week, but I'm sorry. This shit is piss easy. I couldn't say it in the class because some people weren't finding it as easy, but it's just like they're treating us like we're in year 3. And I'm paying $50K to learn this stuff. Anyways, I'm sure I'll eventually get some stuff out of it. I will definitely get some stuff out of it. I reckon it's just the first week. But nah, every single class, met new people, making connections. And it's just, I think for me personally, it's getting back in that environment where you're going to see the same people on a repeat basis, which I didn't have previously. That is pretty huge for me and my well-being and social life because I have not had that previously. It was lifeguarding. I guess I've had that too. I've met some cool people lifeguarding as well, and I see them on a repeat basis. But this time I do want to go through a couple of lessons, and I don't think many of you guys would even make it to this part of the video and watch all the way through. But if you did, you get this knowledge. You would have heard this in places before, but I'm just going to reiterate it for you. They say that a really big indicator of success is the gap between thought and action. When you have a thought about something, how fast do you act on it? Do you put it off to later? Sometimes months, sometimes years, right? For example, I said I was going to post last year, this time, before the AFL season. I didn't start posting until the end of the AFL season, or in September. That is not good, despite the fact, yes, I didn't know what I was doing, but you should jump out of the plane without knowing how to pull the parachute. Don't actually do that. That's a metaphor. Don't do that. You just need to jump and figure it out as you go down. Don't actually do that when you're skydiving, please. Don't do that. When it came to jiu-jitsu for me, I thought, hey, maybe it's cool if I learn how to fight. So what did I do that exact same night was go and sign up to 5 different places for their free trial to get my foot in the door. Otherwise, I would have forgotten about it and probably never done it again. With streaming, I've thought about it and I'm taking action on it right now. Yeah. With the refund, if I was waiting even a month longer, maybe I wouldn't have been able to get that refund. So I quickly message. That is why generally successful people, they respond back instantly. The most busy people respond back instantly. I try to get back to my friends and the people around me that are important as fast as humanly possible. Leaving them undelivered and going and scrolling 2 hours on Instagram Reels does not make you busy. I'm sorry, because I know a lot of people do that. If you are thinking about doing something, whether it be a business, whether it be an activity, a hobby, I encourage you to take the steps towards that today, something that interests you. And at the very least, you'll have a cool experience under your belt that you can add to the many things that you've done previously. And you can take the lessons you've learned from that into the next journey of your life. That is the worst case scenario. So please do it. Now back to uni, the structure of it, because I'm someone who will probably turn up to all my classes, but not do much stuff outside of uni. They say, 10 hours a week per subject. Bruh, I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. It's just not, I'm not allocating that much time to uni, man. And I was going to go through with you guys where my time allocation has been, because I said before, I didn't have that much time to put into my short form content and this content academy route that they teach people. Right? I am very split right now, and I always have been, and I keep repeating it. But just listen to this weekly schedule. 4 times a week at the gym, 3 times a week doing fighting classes, 3 times a week AFL, so 2 trainings and a game. It's about to start. 2 basketball games a week, 3 days of uni a week, 3 lifeguard shifts a week. Then I've got to find some time to go into that truck company to go build more parts. And then I've got content. And by that point, when I've listed those things, you've probably forgotten what the first 3 were. That is what my life looks like right now. So yes, I do definitely want to be more of a polymath sort of person rather than a master of one. But is that too split to make progress? So I've got a lot of tough decisions to make moving forward. Whether I can handle all of that load and still thrive in content, it's a big question, massive question. And I don't think I'm putting enough time into content because I'm going to need to have energy for everything. Trying to maintain good sleep, good habits, no screen an hour before bed, no screen an hour in the morning, this, that, the other. And one thing I have not mentioned yet is that this week I have been prepping my body for the YouTube video tomorrow. That's right. I am filming tomorrow. Next week, I'm going to go in more depth about it after the fact. But I've been resting my body, just doing recovery, sauna, recovery boots, mobility work, sleep, hydration, everything. Because I want to be in the best physical condition for that video tomorrow. However, I have recently got an overuse injury in my toe from overtraining. Great. I literally couldn't even walk on Tuesday without it being painful. So there's inflammation in my big toe going into this challenge. Now, I don't know what challenges I'm getting, but having inflammation in my toe is not optimal. So I've rested that as much as possible, iced, and I'm not a bitch. So I'm going to do everything I can to bypass that. Very cool to meet people at uni, so many people at Deakin, and so many people in my classes, and I'm already 1 week in and I've made more friends than I can count on my hands. And tonight I've got Luna Park, which is another Deakin run event, and I'm going with a friend group from one of last week's events, the Mystery Bus Tour. We're going as a group of 5, so that's also going to be pretty fun. I'm meeting my cameraman today. Well, I know who he is, but I haven't seen him in a long time. He's coming over. We're going to chop it up and plan what we're going to do for tomorrow. And man, if you made it through that entire video, even if you were just listening, I appreciate you. It makes making these videos every single week worth it. Even though I know these are for future purposes to look back on wherever I end up, it's a good feeling knowing that people watched my video last week and they're going to watch this video this week, and there are people waiting on me to upload, even if it's just 2. And I said I would do it with no audience, and you are here right now. So I appreciate it. And before I do my little outro speech, I want to reiterate, is there something that you want to try, you want to do, a hobby, a profession, a business? Is there something that's been on your mind for the longest time but you haven't taken action on yet? I don't even want you to wait till tonight. I don't even want you to wait till tomorrow. I want you to do it as soon as possible. If you are at home right now, right after this video, see what sort of action you can take on it. And even if that is just going on to ChatGPT and asking a few questions about the topic, let it be that. But take one step at least forward towards that and taking action to doing it. That is what I want you to do today. Please. Because the last thing you want to do is look back in 3 years, 30 years, 300 years and be like, if I tried that, that could have changed everything. That could have been the best thing. I wish I did that when I was younger. Because right now, you have that chance. You could do it next year. You could do it tomorrow. But in the future, looking back, all of a sudden, that regret, you actually can't do it anymore. And that pain will probably hurt a lot more. Now, with that said, have a phenomenal week. I hope you had a phenomenal week. I want you to have another phenomenal week. Work harder than you ever have and do something you've never done. I will see you next week for week 23. Goodbye.